Hi, welcome back to Chem with Go. Today we're going to take a look at conversion factors, and I'll actually produce a set of these videos to sort of explain what they are and how they would apply in chemistry in the calculations that we do in class. Now, before we get into the setup for conversion factors and the calculations that you need to do for my class, understand that in chemistry and in science in general, when we come up with words to describe things, words actually mean numbers in science quite a bit. In fact, some parts of words, like prefixes and suffixes, actually help us define a number for that either specific measurement or sort of, it could stand for a number is what I'm trying to say. For example, in the English language, there are many words that describe numbers, like the word dozen, means 12. And if you had 3 dozen, you could pretty much do this calculation in your head. You can quickly say, well, 3 dozen, that's 3 times 12, so then that's 36. And really what you just did right there was a conversion factor. You use a definition of the word dozen to mean 12, and then actually multiplied it times the 3 dozen that you actually had. Now, you don't visualize this normally, or you don't actually spend the time to actually, write this out, but let me show you what I'm trying to say. If I had 3 dozen, and let's say I didn't know what that was, and I couldn't calculate it on my own, what I'll do is I'll use the definition of 1 dozen and write it in terms of a fraction. Now, earlier we wrote down this equality. We said 1 dozen is equal to actual 12. And what we do is we write that as a fraction. And some people, will use the parentheses version. Some people will use like H's and so forth, or brackets, or whatever it is. Regardless of what you use, it's the same concept. What we're going to do is we're going to set up the conversion factor, which happens to be this fraction right here, in such a way that we can cancel out the units. And if I have 1 dozen, I'll put the dozen down here on the bottom. And the reason why is eventually I want to be able to cancel out these units like this, okay? And then I'll put 12 on top. Now again, you do this in your head quickly, so it's not something that you would think about, okay, to set up. But when you're working with a word, okay, or some kind of prefix base unit, for example, right here, and you're not sure of how to convert that from one unit to another, you might want to go ahead and set up this conversion factor to make sense out of it. And when I say set it up, you want to make sure that you set up the fraction in such a way that the units can cancel out, so then you can get to your final answer over here, which happens to be 36, okay, whatever that is. Okay, so that's sort of the introduction to conversion factors. Let's take a look at the second part in the series, in where we actually convert from a base unit to a prefix unit, or a prefix unit to a base unit in the unit of or in the system of SI. All right, we'll talk to you soon.